never get bored restoring the vessels. Each vessel has a story of its own, and the people that you get to meet along the way is just magnificent. I get to meet the skippers that have been taught by the skippers before them, the stories that come out of the low rivers and the high rivers, the tasks involved in taking the freight that the boats were carrying from town to town, being stranded on sandbars or snagged on trees that have fallen into the Murray River. It's just phenomenal. My passion with the boats started in 1990. My dad purchased a wreck of a paddle steamer in Mildura known as the Ranger. She was built in 1909. He brought it all the way back to Echuca and began the restoration, and she now joins the fleet here at the Port of Echuca and still moored here. So as a young boy, I grew up with the paddle boats and it developed from there. I was lucky enough to be offered a traineeship by the Port of Echuca by Kevin Hutchinson, who's the port shipwright at the time and still is today. From there I did my apprenticeship. It was a 4-year course. I went to Williamstown. I was able to do my trade school there at Newport, and then I got the opportunity to work on all the paddle steamers in the Port of Echuca and learn the craftsmanship and the workmanship of the older restorations that took part back in the 1900s. Every 2 years a paddle steamer has to come out, a commercial vessel itself. It's just for maintenance, so we can do planking. The boats are about 100 years old. When I have to pull a vessel out of the water, our first task is to wash the vessel down, make sure all the algae is taken off the hull. Then we're able to examine the hull itself. Most of the time the tasks will entail planking, so that means removing the old timber planks. Then we have to recut new timber, mouth the planks and fit them. We would be doing fastenings and framework, which the planks would be bolted to. And once all the structural work is completed, then we would go about caulking the vessel. Caulking allows to give the vessel a watertight integrity. Once the caulking is completed, we would then tar the caulking and then tar the planks of the hull just as a preservative, and then the vessel will be put back into the water. The lifespan of a steam engine can go on for years and years. As long as the minimum upkeep is kept, the engines themselves don't wear out. The boilers themselves, if they've got the correct boiler treatment, they'll be here for many more generations to come. The reason we can continue to keep them going is in England we're able to send away and still get new castings made. We can bring them over here, and with a fitter and turner they can machine them to fit the existing engines and adapt to what is already here. Today's technology with the boiler welding and things like that, we don't usually do riveting to boilers, but we're able to cut out infected areas of the barrel and have them welded in as long as you're a certified boiler welder. And this allows the vessels to continue their upkeep and to continue operating for many more years. A lot of the methods that we use today on the paddle boats when we pull them out of the water still date back to about the 1890s when the riverboat trade began. Simply the fact is you have to continue to restore the vessels to what they were originally built. So we still use the same methods to plank the vessels, to caulk the vessels, and to hot pitch the seams and tar the hull before putting it back into the Murray River. Most of the challenges we face as a shipwright is many of the vessels are individual, they're unique in the way they've been built. Many people and shipwrights prior to us were building the boats along the Murray River, and as the years went on, the techniques changed. Some of the challenges that we've come across on the Alexander Arbuthnot behind us here has been the length of timber. Back in the day when she was built, the sawmills and the trees were so large they were able to get timber up to 30 feet in length. Today, we'd be struggling to get about an 18 to 20 feet in length. So the challenge is that we need to be able to stagger our joins, and we need to rehull the boat, keeping it as traditional as possible, but as practical as possible as well. When we're slipping a vessel, we only keep them out of the water for as short as time as possible. Our main problem is the weather and the wind. The planks will begin to shrink if the weather is too hot, and that makes your caulking seam open up. So it's a matter of racing the heat and caulking the vessel just to gain watertight integrity. When people come to the Port of Echuca, we want them to experience what it was once like in the 1900s. They get to see the paddle steamers, they get to see the locomotives, they get to see what the transport trade was once in 1900. It's important for us to continue the restoration on these vessels to keep the history alive for future generations.